So let's talk about how you treat your children. If you follow me, I'm guessing that you're a pretty kind parent. You're thinking about your interactions, you're being thoughtful in the words that you choose, the times that you can, and you're trying your best to model appropriate, healthy relationships. And I'm so pleased with that. That's wonderful, right? We're all making these wonderful changes in parenthood. But how do you treat everyone else? That's a question most people aren't thinking about. But kids are sponges and they're picking up on everything everywhere you go. So I want you to think about the different interactions you have and what your children are witnessing. Do your actions match your words? If you're telling your children, you should be kind, you should be this, and then you're berating someone in front of them, which one are they going to listen to? And sometimes temperament plays a role in this. We can't really choose the temperament of our kids, right? They're born whoever they are. And some kids will do exactly what you do because they're like you. And some kids will listen to your words and not your actions. But what we want to see is that your actions match your words so that what you're modeling for your children is what you want to see as they grow up for themselves. An example of this would be, how do you treat people who work inside your home? Whether it's someone who's cleaning or fixing an appliance or doing any sort of job. How do you greet them? How do you interact with them? What if you disagree with their suggestion? Are you screaming at them that you think they're a liar trying to rip you off? Or are you treating them respectfully? And sometimes we're heated. Not every moment is our best moment, of course. But what is a consistent pattern that you're showing your kids? Another example to think about is not just how you talk about teachers, how you talk to teachers. They're equally important. In our house, we love our teachers. I'm 5 years into a school. We've had 5 amazing teachers. We have a wonderful principal. Our support staff's amazing. The paraprofessionals are great. So it's easy when there's a lot of good things to say. So my child witnesses me talking positively, respectfully, happily to each teacher. But he also hears us talk to other adults about them. There are a lot of conversations he's in the room for when I'm talking to my parents or I'm talking to other parents. And I think it's important that my message matches. So he is hearing both sides and that they connect. Another thing to think about is, how do you talk to a server at a restaurant? Are you respectful to them? What if a mistake is made? Are you polite in your request for something different? Are you berating them? Are you mean to them, to the people at the table, and then polite in person? All of these things that we're doing, we're being observed. I wish it wasn't true all the time, but we're being observed. So I want you to think about, what are the ways that you interact with others? We want kids to know from the beginning that we're all equal, right? No one is better than anyone else. When we think about people who are different, it's not a better than, it's a different from. So maybe this person is more educated and has a higher degree. That doesn't mean they're better than anyone. It means they're more educated. This person might have significantly more money than you. Doesn't mean they're better than you. It means they are wealthier than you. And I think we have this time now where there's a lot of entitlement that we're seeing. And part of it is this idea of better than. And I think it's important from the start to teach kids that we are all the same. We are all equal. And you are not better than anyone. And no one is better than you. It goes both ways, right? So what messages are you giving that confirm that? And what might you accidentally be doing that doesn't? At any time, it's an okay time to make a change. If you realize, when I go to this place, I'm actually pretty disrespectful to this person. Okay, see if you can make a little shift here or there. And why is that person so triggering to you? You could think about that too. And do you have to go there? Someone bothers you that much. So obviously not all relationships are happy and positive, but what we are teaching is that everyone should be respected. So is that what you're doing? And if not, let's think about what could be doing differently. One of the most common examples is thinking about how do you speak to your spouse or other adults that live in your house. This is what children take in as a way of how loving relationships work, how communication works, how do people that love each other treat each other. So if the only way that you can communicate is screaming, then a lot of people will choose a spouse that screams. It makes sense. It's not maybe always what we want, but it makes sense. If you disagree and problem solve together, if you are modeling conflict resolution, it doesn't mean you can't get mad. Of course, you're going to be mad at anyone who lives in your house, child or adult. We're not teaching them that you can't be mad. We're teaching them how to be mad. How do you express your disagreement with someone? You know, as kids, it's like, you've got boys wrestling on the floor, people pulling hair. But what are we modeling so that as they grow up, they're shifting into it? How do you disagree? How do you have a fight? It's not that you shouldn't fight in front of your kids ever. How do you fight? And if you know that right now you can't fight nicely, try your best not to do it in front of your kids. They are literally taking in everything. So the way that we treat other adults in our home, out of our home, and even other kids, how do we treat other people? They are learning from us. They're learning from us all the time. And this is one way. So if you have some changes to make, which most of us, have a little shift here or there to do, think about which ones you want to try first and see if it makes a difference. And if you see any way that your child is negatively interacting with other peers or other people or teachers, this is the time to talk to them about it. This is the time to wonder with them, why would you talk to that person that way? What were you really upset about? They're always learning. So give them more information so they can learn something new. One of the ways that kids learn how to interact with people is by being out and about in the world. And for a couple of years with the pandemic, kids did not have any of those interactions. Zero for a lot of the time. And so those natural things at the dry cleaner, at the grocery store, these experiences didn't happen for years for so many children at these early age points. And so they are still learning in a way that's different than if the pandemic hadn't happened. One way that we introduced it into our house when I realized this was the way that we talk to our Alexa and Google. And even though we didn't go anywhere, we listened to a lot of music. Probably more than I wish we had. But it was something we could do. And so part of my modeling for my son was, how do I talk to Alexa? Is it a real person? No. But also, what does a young child think about something that talks back to you? They kind of do feel like it's a real person. So my modeling was Alexa, please play Kids Bop, which I wish I didn't have to say 1,000 times, but I did. And sometimes we would say thank you, but I would always put a please into this. And then my son started to say please and thank you to Alexa. And then as we did start going back into the world, I could see that it was transferring to other places and people and things. Whether it's then saying it to the person who delivers our packages, right? Whether it's a Grubhub food delivery or UPS, my son will open the door and say thank you and even holler to someone who's already back in their truck, right? To thank them for delivering our package. So the way that we interact with the world is being brought in. And sometimes because the pandemic took away these experiences, sometimes we have to be a little more direct if we see that our kids are missing some of these experiences. So go ahead and verbalize it a little more often than you would, or be a little more conscious and intense with it if you think that one of your children needs that more direct instruction. That's okay. Maybe they didn't get it then, but they can get it now. Changes can happen at any time. So if one of your kids needs it more, take them on more adventures with you. model it more, and let them start internalizing it so that it becomes part of their routine too. Actions speak louder than words. So think about how you're treating others. Think about your partner or spouse. Think about your oldest versus your youngest, or maybe you have a wild middle. Think about your shopkeepers. Think about the person that you buy candy from. Think about the server in the restaurant. What are you showing your children for how you interact with people in the world? These are the messages they're taking in more consistently. It's not that we're purposely educating them all the time. So it's through our actions that we're educating them, whether we want to or not.